Welcome to Performance Anxiety. This week's show features the Rayo Brothers. Don't call them country, don't call them folk, they're Americana. And brothers Dan and Jesse Reaux come from a family that's steeped in Louisiana musical tradition. They talk about how they got started in music and some of the interesting covers that they've played and some of the weird traditions they have when ending a set, like shirtless chest bumps. But these guys are great. They play some really amazing, fun music. Give them a listen. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Facebook at PerformanceANX. Check out our storefront at performanceanx.threadless.com. And don't forget to rate and review wherever you listen to us. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the Rayo Brothers on Performance Anxiety.
Hi, this is Jesse Reaux with the Rayo Brothers, and you're listening to the Performance Anxiety Podcast.
So what were the first instruments you learned to play?
We grew up, I guess we probably both started with guitar.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I started with piano. That was the first instrument I learned, I guess, officially. My mom taught me a little bit. And then I started taking lessons for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then our mom taught us both guitar as well. So that was kind of the first instrument we learned.
Okay. And you guys, there's quite a variety of musical instruments. I mean, you guys are, I guess it would be considered mostly a country band, right? Is that is there?
I guess into that broad category, we usually say Americana just because like what is kind of popularly known as country now is a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree because I'm not a big country fan at least as far as what you hear on the radio as far as country music is concerned now. Not big into like guys like Keith Urban, and he's pretty much the only guy I know at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I love bands like Woven Hand, 16 Horsepower, Dead String Brothers, Clem Snide, bands like that. They're a little different, a little offbeat. So.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the music that you guys listen to. All right, before we start that, since we were talking about you guys growing up, what were you listening to when you grew up? You had a musical family, and you guys are from Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what were you guys listening to, like jazz, country? What was going on in the house when you guys were growing up?
I'd say so growing up, there was a lot of gospel and bluegrass influence. So that's where we get a lot of our bluegrass influence and like old folk songs and things in that genre, like the Carter family songs and then into some Hank Williams and like Bill Monroe as far as bluegrass. So in our actual household, there was a lot of gospel and bluegrass. As far as like the extension of the musical family, like on our mom's side, they all play a lot of Cajun music.
Okay. Well, your last name is Reaux, but it's Reaux, right?
Yeah.
Did I spell that right?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good. And I had to ask, I figured since the band's name is Rayo Brothers, I figured that was a phonetic version of your last name, but I had to double check because last thing I wanted to do was call you guys Roux and, have a nice tasty sauce or something, but
right.
Which is delicious, but
it is. Yeah. It's hard to pronounce even for people down here because the French pronunciation should be Roux, but it's not because of the way the name has changed over the years. So I don't really have to get into our chronology or anything. But yeah, just suffice to say, Louisiana is a stew of many cultures, and so that's why our name ended up spelled that way and pronounced that way. And we tried to make it easy for the band name.
It works. So it helped me out for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed in reading a little bit about you guys, and I've tried to do as much research as I can on you guys, but you guys are sneaky because everything that I've found has been stuff that's publicity or your website stuff. So I'm trying. I started doing a little bit of a deep dive and listening to some of your older stuff and trying to find some older interviews and stuff with you. And I did find something saying that when you guys are out and playing live, you'll do a wide variety of cover songs to supplement the original material that you write. And I did see something saying, and let me check my notes here. You guys will play songs like War Pigs by Black Sabbath or A Little Less Conversation by Elvis Presley. So so a couple questions here. First off, were you guys metalheads back when you guys were younger, growing up listening to music?
We weren't personally. Our bassist started out in metal, Jordan Ardwin. He was in a few metal bands actually before he started playing with us.
Oh, okay.
But no, we were never really into metal. I don't even remember why we ever started playing War Pigs. I mean, that's a song. That's a song. I guess it's popular enough. It's one, even if you're not into metal, you would have heard that song.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite Sabbath songs.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play though. Actually, now though we don't play as many covers because now we have our intention always was to once we'd have enough originals that we could fill a set with originals and. But at the beginning when we didn't have as many of those, we would try to do we would try to play covers that were as interesting as possible. So like, we didn't cover that many like country songs. We didn't. I mean, we would play Wagon Wheel just because so many people would ask us to play it, but that was like the opposite of what we wanted to play because like we're trying to do something interesting. We started out as much more of a acoustic band. Okay. Like now we've added a lot more elements, but when we started out, it was acoustic bass, acoustic guitar, and banjo, and drums. So we were just trying to do something that was like pulling from completely different worlds into that, just so that people would have something interesting to listen to and not just another country folk band playing a country folk song.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes your set a lot more interesting when I saw these guys and, they're a country folky Americana type of band, but holy crap, they pulled out Black Sabbath's War Pigs.
With banjo.
Oh man, do you guys have a recording of that somewhere? Because I've got to hear that.
Some garbage YouTube video from a bar, but I don't know if it'd be worth hearing.
No, I actually do like our arrangement of it, and it's possible maybe someone will try to record that. I'm trying to think if we have any. Well, we are. I mean, no promises. I don't know how this is going to come out, but we just did fundraiser for our new album, and one of the things that people could do is one of the perks they could get is getting a cover song.
Oh wow.
Like they pick a song and we would cover it, and one of the ones we're going to do is Major Tom by Peter Schilling.
Oh damn it, I love that song.
I don't know, it'll be a while before that. We haven't even started working on arranging it yet, and
oh my gosh,
I guess I'm putting that out there and hoping that it doesn't sound like crap now, but
man, first of all, I love that song, but to hear you guys do an arrangement of that's going to be amazing. I'm excited. Now, is that going to be available to anybody or just the person who pledged it?
Well, me and Dan both really like that song, and so we really want to make a good arrangement of it. The way we've done that in the past with that same kind of thing is like we just make the songs for the people, but then if we really like it, then we release it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
See any other takers on the cover songs? Any other interesting requests?
Yeah, there's "Can't Tell Me Nothing" by Kanye West.
Oh my gosh, that's
which we have played before.
Yeah,
we used to play that live too.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I gotta go down a rabbit hole with you guys because unfortunately I haven't had the time to go through a huge rabbit hole. But now you've just tempted me, not even tempted me, you've almost dared me now to go down a rabbit hole of Rayo Brothers.
Actually, that one, that Kanye West song, I am 99% sure there is a version of that on YouTube if you look for it.
Oh, man. All right. So I'm definitely going to have to check that out. So now,
don't play it on the podcast because I'm sure it sounds terrible.
Well, no promises. So,
okay.
Now, you guys are the Rayo Brothers. You're actually brothers.
Yes.
Are you guys competitive?
Not when it comes to music, really, but
yeah, just in physical feats.
So you're not trying to outright each other, but maybe
it'd be like push-up competitions or something. But yeah.
we used to both take Krav Maga together. So we would do some sparring and that, but now I just didn't have time to keep up with it. And now Dan is on to jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, and he actually started doing competitions and stuff.
Wow.
So I can't keep anymore.
That's so crazy because I listen to your music and it's so nice and sounds so sweet and almost gentle, and it's very soft and southern, and then you're beating the shit out of people. So that doesn't
gotta let it out somewhere.
Yeah. I guess in a controlled environment it's better than on stage, maybe, unless you're rocking out to War Pigs.
Yeah. Get a mosh pit going.
Well, now I did notice something. I did see a video of you guys, and I guess this is something I was going to ask a little later on, but I'll ask it now. I noticed you guys had a I don't even want to say a ritual because I only saw one video where you ended a set and you ended up finishing up the show with naked, wet chest bumps. Is that something you guys do? Naked, wet, or bare-chested, wet chest bumps.
Sure, but not, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't completely naked.
Sometimes it was wet if we were sweating, but it wasn't part of the tradition that it had to be wet.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's usually the case.
It's just a happy coincidence.
We called it Shirtless Chest Bump was the official name.
Okay, that's what it's not naked. All right, my apologies. Still trying to keep this show at least R and not X.
Yes, it was topless chest bump at best.
But it was only the guys too, I noticed. So that probably kept it PG at least.
Right, exactly.
All right. So let me ask you, and one of the stupid things about this show is that I just kind of bounce around because my notes are all over the place. So this is actually your third album. Am I right with it? I'm right with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, third album. And you've got some of your relatives playing on this album. So who's playing, what are they playing, and where are they from?
Well, starting with our relatives is Louis Michaud, our cousin. He is with the band Lost by Ramblers.
Right.
They're a Grammy progressive Cajun band that has been able to branch out to other, outside of just Louisiana because of their really unique style and high energy shows and music. And he just started a record company, Nouveau Electric Records, which is where we're releasing this record on that label.
Oh, great.
And he was also the producer for this album, and he played fiddle and sang on a song called Rye Whiskey.
Rye Whiskey.
And it's whiskey, rye whiskey, rye whiskey, I cried. If I don't drink rye whiskey, I surely will die. Jack of diamonds, I known you of old.
All right.
And then his brother Andre, who's also in Lost by Ramblers, played lap steel and accordion on the album.
Oh, well, okay. So that's where the lap steel comes in, because that's one of my favorite instruments of all time. It's just such an emotive sound. It gets me every single time I hear it. So there's a song also with a horn arrangement, and that was really cool. I was unexpected. And maybe I should have expected that, knowing you guys from Louisiana and the whole history of jazz in the area. But it kind of took me by surprise, and it was really interesting. How did that come about? And when you do a song like that, I guess before I let you answer that part of the question, you guys don't tour with a horn section, right? So when you write a song like that and you figure you're going to put horns on it, is it in the back of your mind somehow that you've got to play this when you're touring, and how are you making an arrangement of it without horns and with horns at the same time?
Yeah, well, that as far as like the touring aspect of it, that doesn't really bother us too much, because like I think we're fine with having things sound different on the album, because like also we did bring in like another guy on pedal steel, and Nakia Young, Lyle Begno played pedal steel, Nakia Young played the string arrangements. And so we did bring in a lot of musicians that aren't always able to travel with us on the road. So we're okay with doing it differently. Like that song with the horn arrangement, when we play it live, we actually just do it with our mouths. Like we just like,
awesome.
Not trying to sound like a trumpet necessarily, but just singing like those notes, like either saying la la or whatever, but like doing that arrangement.
Oh man, I had it in my head that you guys were making mouth noises like a trumpet or something.
Oh no. Like that, no.
Oh, okay. That's still pretty cool. All right. No mouth trumpets, but all right. So you guys aren't naked. There's no mouth trumpets. All right.
Yeah, all these rumors you've been hearing, I don't know.
So, did you guys do anything different in the studio for this album that you didn't do for your first two, or was the process fairly the same as the first two albums that you did?
Actually, it was a good bit different, because the majority of the song we would record live. So rather than track each individual part by itself, with just earphones, like we had the main parts of the band, so guitar, bass, vocals, and drums. Everybody would kind of be like, vocals would be in a separate room with glass so I could still see. And then drums have to be kind of behind glass too. But then everybody was plugged in, and that way we were able to get a live feel, because we could actually interact and see each other playing and like all play at the same time. And I think it really made a difference, because our live performances and our live shows is really what a lot of people follow us for, and that energy. So we were able to bring that into the studio.
Well, it's got a great sound. I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I was a little bummed when it ended. It was, I was kind of hoping I'm like, oh, check 10. Oh, damn, it's done. So
that's how we hope to keep sticking around for the next album.
Yes, exactly. You got to leave them wanting more, right?
Yeah.
Do the old Costanza. So I mentioned before, there's a lot of whiskey drinking in this album. Was that conscious, or because I've noticed in other bands, like certain recurring themes will happen, and sometimes it's drinking, sometimes it's shooting people, sometimes it's other stuff. Was it just something that it was just part of the writing process, or maybe something from your influences, or was it just a theme that you wanted through the album?
It definitely wasn't intentional. We had like kind of a bunch of songs, I guess, that we were working on, and it just so happened that these all kind of fit together. And I don't know, maybe one of the things that helped them fit together was kind of that theme that ran through a lot. But no, I guess also one thing that kind of maybe brought that element out even more was the one cover song on the album is like just about whiskey. And the reason that, but the reason we did that one is because Louis plays the French version of that song with some of his other bands.
Okay.
And so when we were doing live shows together, like he would jump on with us and play that song. And so it was just because we had that song in common that we would play together live sometimes. Like that's why that song ended up on the album. I guess so it wasn't intentional to have that much drinking. It just, I don't know why it worked.
It's just a happy accident.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed is that a lot of the album, or a lot of these songs on the album, they may not start, or maybe, I guess the best way to put this is they end positively. It's like the characters in each song, the person who's writing or singing the song, that the main character seems to have some kind of issue, but finds a positive way to get through it. Am I reading that correctly, or is that just all in my head?
I guess so. To me, like, just to kind of I don't know how much you got as far as we're able to find from research, but like Dan is the main singer. So he's the lead vocalist on almost all of our songs.
Okay.
In the past, like for all of our other albums, he was also the main songwriter. I just happen to have a lot of songs on this album that I wrote. I mean, Dan still sang most of them.
How's that competition thing going?
Yeah. Well, no, but just to say, as far as talking about the lyrics on this album in particular, the way I see it, each song is kind of like one snapshot. And maybe if there is a progression to them, then I think that's good. Like, because for me, that's a really hard thing to intentionally do, is to try to make a narrative inside a song that doesn't get cheesy, because if you have a story where something turns, then like there has to be a reason for the change, and it's hard. So if that shows up in the songs, I think that's probably good, but it wasn't really intentional, because I find it hard to pull that off. The only one I know for sure that there is that like kind of that turn in the song to be more positive is the title track, Victim and Villain.
Oh, which I love that song.
Thank you. It was definitely in that one. As far as all the other ones, the way I conceive of them is like as being like one snapshot in time, like on a progression of time.
Okay.
But Dan's song too, Dan wrote Dark Room, and that one I think does have also like kind of a starting out or you want to talk about that one?
Yeah. And the song Dark Room, I would say ends with a positive sort of feel. And I think generally I do see a song as like in a lot of the ones I've written, I see it as a narrative arc in a way.
Learn from it what I need, of what and what not to be, and I'll douse it in kerosene, and I'm gonna light up this dark room, burning my memory, exposing the truth. Tell me where you've gone, 'cause I'm coming to.
So yeah, the song Dark Room I'd say has a positive feel towards the end. Like he sort of figures out how to try to get the girl back,
without lighting the entire room on fire.
What's that?
Without lighting that entire dark room on fire, because he's throwing kerosene on it and.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I wish there were a way to do it without burning everything down. But
just selective arson.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will say like Dan is much better at the narrative type of songwriting too. I was just saying, I wasn't trying to say that type of songwriting in general is cheesy, but just I can't.
Songwriting.
I can't figure out.
It's better than any song I've written.
Like when I'm writing about like a certain feeling or a certain like snapshot, I can think of ways where like I know what the turn should be, like if it was in real life, well, this is the way the character feels. I know that there's a way, like I know what the right thing to do is here. But then sometimes if I try to write that into the song, it just sounds like almost like preachy or like too like self-help or positive. And so I mean, sometimes I guess it's able to work, but other times I try to just leave that alone and just let that one thing just stand on its own.
You don't want it to be too positive, because that's some of your influence coming in, some of the outlaw country that you guys like coming in, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Some David Allan Coe coming in, where mom gets out of jail, dog runs away. What the hell's that song?
Yeah, we do have a good bit of influence from that genre, that area of country.
Yeah, all the outlaws are favorites of ours.
Well,
like a lot of George, things like that too. Yeah,
and it's funny because I can hear it musically more than lyrically though, because like I said, lyrically the songs are coming across to me as being positive, where I listen to a lot of, I shouldn't say I listen to a lot of, but when I do hear David Allan Coe or old Waylon or guys like that, it's Porter Wagner. They're not happy.
Yeah,
those suckers are pissed off and sad, and shit's always going wrong for them. So your songs are a little more positive than that. So I guess that was.
I guess I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be positive, but I guess if it comes out that way, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, there's so much crap in the world as it is. Get some positive stuff out there.
Yeah.
I guess it's even better if you're trying to be depressed and it still comes out positive.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So you guys, your outlook on things is a lot different than Waylon and Willie and all that. So
that's probably.
Yeah, I think so, because, I mean, I guess just for both of us, like, I mean, I think a lot of the guys that wrote those songs really did struggle with, I mean, I like drug use and alcohol and addiction and all that was like a real part of all their struggles. And
yeah,
I mean, for us, well, I mean, I say speaking for myself, but really for both of us, like we do struggle with things, but not with necessarily with those things. So like we're both the type of people that try to intentionally not engage in self-destruction and try to find a positive way, even though we have real suffering and real problems, but as much as possible, we try not to cause it to ourselves. So,
well, that's smart. So you guys are more intelligent than some of those guys to start off with.
Well, we'll let you say that.
Well, that's good because they're probably not coming on this show anyway. So how did you guys even get started as a band?
It was just in from very young age. Like once we started playing music, like I started playing piano when I was 8. Jesse started playing guitar when he was 5, which was Jesse's 5 years older than me. So
okay,
a long time before. And our the middle brother, the one between us, Asher, was also playing with us. Okay. And we would just pick up instruments, and that's just what we did at home. We just, not all the time, but there were always instruments. There was always music in the home, and we would just play together. We'd play as a family. Sometimes we'd play for like relatives and stuff at little gatherings and things like that.
So when did you guys decide to make the Rayo Brothers, Rayo Brothers, an actual full tilt band?
Well, that was when I graduated from college. I'm the older one. Dan had been writing some songs, and so for my graduation party at my parents' house, we kind of had a party, and I wanted him to sing some of his songs, and me and our brother Asher would just play along. And so I guess, I mean, I kind of see that as like where we decided to kind of do that.
Yeah, we kind of put on like a bit of a concert, and that was the first time we had done something like that to that level
with like Dan's original songs. And then soon after that, we started going to songwriter nights, like open mics and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And when we did that, we would write on the sign-up sheet Rayo Brothers, just so that the guy would say it the right way.
Okay.
And then we just never did anything different.
So the middle brother, Asher, is he musically inclined? Is he in a band now, or is he just off doing his own thing?
Well, he is. He played drums and mandolin mostly and a little bit of bass, but he only played our very first gig with us, like our first like paying gig.
Okay.
And right after that, he was already like signed up to join the police department. And so right after that, he started training, and he works night shifts. So he just he wasn't able to really keep up with it.
Well, that makes sense.
At that point, we got our friend Lance Callahan to join in on drums, and he would play. At the beginning, Lance was also playing mandolin.
Okay.
And now he's just like full-time drummer. Our sound has changed a little bit. And we had our cousin Patrick playing bass at that time, but about a year after we started, or a couple years, Jordan started playing bass with us.
Does that fill out the band, just the 4 of you, or who else plays?
And we've had people come and go at like kind of playing. It's sort of like a rotating cast. We had a girl playing fiddle with us for a long time, and now we kind of have like either a pedal steel player or a violin player, or like whoever's available. Or I mean, like when we travel a lot, we usually just do 4-piece because it's easier to travel that way.
Oh yeah.
But when we get a festival gig or something, we'll have guests join in on like whatever we can get, violin, fiddle, pedal steel, something like that.
So the new album comes out at the end of March.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So are you guys working on doing a tour for it, a regional tour, a national tour, bunch of little different tours? How do you plan on supporting the album?
Yeah, we have a tour going on like in the weeks, like right around the album release. We're going to be going like Midwest and a little bit of the South, I guess, like Nashville, Chicago, Lexington, Indianapolis, a town near Cincinnati. We're going to
like Chicago, Nashville, someplace near Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to say Cincinnati.
We'll keep it there.
We're playing at a truck stop.
Yeah.
Hey man, wherever you can get a gig, man, take it.
Yeah, and then we'll be playing Texas and Colorado a little bit later in the year, and planning to go up to the Northeast after that. So
well, I'm hoping you guys can get a chance to come to the Virginia, D.C. area, because your sound fits perfectly in this area.
We would like to go, like, we haven't started doing anything. We haven't started booking that tour yet for the Northeast, but I did want to start in that area, like D.C. or Baltimore, and then go up from there. So, yeah, we definitely want to play in that area. We haven't played on the East Coast yet.
Man, well, your sound, it fits perfectly with the area. There's a lot of, bluegrass is really popular here. Your Americana style of country is huge in this area. There's a lot of local bands will play something similar. They won't go out on tour, but they'll, a lot of the bands that come to the little clubs and just go, tour within a 30-mile radius kind of a thing. They'll play. Yeah. They'll play an Americana that musically is similar to you guys, and it fits right in. I think you guys would be a big hit around here.
Cool. Well, I hope so. We're looking forward to going to that area.
I'll keep an eye out for you guys because I'll come and check you out and.
Might be able to get a shirtless chest bump in backstage.
Hey, that would be amazing. I'll come prepared to shirtless, and I'll get wet immediately. I'll hose myself down.
Isn't required, but whatever.
Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, you gotta let it go. You gotta just kind of let it ride, see what happens. That's what outlaw country is all about. Just taking those weird chances. Forget it. I'm not gonna. No more shirtless chest bump shit. I'm done with that. So anyway, all right. I'm gonna tell you guys my favorite songs off the album. I love the way you open it up with Colorado, and the guitar in that is awesome. It's got this like Lone Justice, like Shane Fontaine kind of sound on the guitar. I love it. It's amazing. But my favorite song is definitely The Dream. Victim and Villain are great, but I love The Dream. What did you guys do? That song is a little bit different from the rest of the album. The guitar is a little more almost, I don't want to say shoegazy, but it's got a little heavier, shimmery maybe. It's fantastic. What did you guys do a little bit differently on that song?
That one, we always end up doing one song on an album that pushes a little bit in that direction. Like on our last album, it was a song called Maps to the Moon, where we kind of put some of those elements in there. Yeah. So as far as the sound on that one, we had my guitar going through, like the signal was split and it was going through a tape machine on one side. So it just had this like really like distorted, super long sustain. And then the other half of the signal was going through my pedal board and a Vox amplifier, and the effects were like this. I forget what the pedal is called, but it you can do like octaves and harmonies and stuff, and so like everything playing had those like really high parts that were like you almost couldn't hear, but it's like the same, like going all throughout that. So I had one track was just kind of playing it straight and playing the riffs. And then I just kind of played over for the other guitar track, which they're like split into left and right when you're listening to it.
Okay.
And the other guitar track was just kind of playing around with those effects and just kind of like swelling in and out. And I mean, it was really just like kind of playing around with it and having fun.
Do you guys use a lot of effects? Because in the genre that you guys sound like, it's not really known for experimenting with a lot of effects pedals and things like that. So do you guys use a lot of effects?
Not when we play live normally. Okay. Not that we're opposed to it. We definitely would. Like every now and then I've plugged in my banjo and run through like an overdrive pedal or something for a particular song.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like it. I guess it's really just it's not like we don't want to do that. I guess it's really just like we haven't actually sat down and tried to like, hey, or like decide, are we going to like try to push this electronic thing? Because like the Lost Bayou Ramblers, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they started out as a traditional Cajun band, like all acoustic.
Okay.
And then somehow they ended up with like, I mean, now you watch them. To me, it's still my favorite band to watch live, and that's Louis Michaud's band.
Okay.
I think it's psychedelic punk Cajun. I think is about.
Wow.
Yeah, they've got like the fiddle awesome. Their fiddle is running through like a delay pedal and a really gritty amp, and they've got like a electronic drum. What do you call it? I don't know. Like they got drum pads and a real drum set.
Oh, cool.
And their bassist uses tons of like fuzz and overdrive and everything. And they've got their guitarist does a lot of that like shoegaze type of stuff. And the accordion, one of my favorite things is when the accordion like kicks on the whammy pedal and just like it's like it's like punk psychedelic. It's like hardcore punk rock psychedelic music, but with like this screaming fiddle and everything. It's so much fun
in French. Yeah.
But anyway,
wow.
Yeah. So like just having that influence and like seeing those guys play all the time is really kind of like, I guess in a way almost like gives us permission to where we feel comfortable. Like if we ever did like get into our heads to do something like that, like we wouldn't feel totally out of place doing it just because we've seen it done with acoustic folk music.
That's amazing. All right. So I'm in on the Lost Bayou Ramblers. I got to check that out now.
Yeah. You have to check them out.
Are you guys gearheads? Do you guys collect a lot of instruments or recording gear or anything like that?
I wouldn't say majorly. No. I mean, you probably are more than me.
Well, Dan is actually building an amplifier right now,
wow.
I do. I'm just getting into sort of some of the electronics of it. And
oh man, how did you get into that?
I'm a mechanic by trade, automobile mechanic.
Okay.
I've always kind of been more interested in the electrical side of things. And so finally, after, I don't know, several years of being in the band, I like looked at my amp and I'm like, I wonder how this thing works. and so I started, kind of trying to look it up and figure things out. And so I bought a kit recently, so I'm trying to build my own. But that's where I'm at with that. But other than that, like, personally, I wouldn't call myself a gearhead in that way. I've always just like, okay, I'll go play this acoustic guitar. It seems to work. It feels good. It sounds good. You're like, hey, what model is that? I have no idea. You look in the back right here. More in that lane myself, but I think probably the other guys are more into gear than I am.
What about you, Jesse? You more into it?
I really should be more into gear because like I a lot of times like I'll get these sounds in my head or these things I want to do and I just don't know how to get it done. For me, I find it hard to like get into, well, especially anything when it comes to like the electronic manipulation of the signals, like with pedals and stuff. It's just not like intuitive to me really. And
okay.
when I have time like to practice and really get into things, I find so much more fulfillment in like technique and in just playing with just an acoustic instrument. So I should get into gear more, and I really can't call myself a gearhead because I'm like Dan too. Like I my favorite guitar is a Gretsch, and I don't even know what the model number is.
Oh man, well, that's a good choice, no matter what model it is.
Yeah,
I kind of like that you're not, because if you're more into the feel, and it doesn't really matter what the model is or what the make is, or
like the way I bought a banjo. So there's no place down here. Banjo music isn't really big in South Louisiana.
Oh, really?
So yeah, because Cajun music is a different thing. Banjo isn't necessarily part of it.
Okay.
So there's nowhere to you can't just go to a music shop and the only thing they'll have is a starter banjo from Fender. Oh. So I had a K banjo for a while, which was kind of the Sears catalog starter banjo. And then the first time I think that we played in Austin, I went to an actual, Austin music store. And because I didn't have any experience playing any really nice banjos, I just grabbed 7 banjos that were in my price range, and I took them into a room. They had these rooms where you could just close the door and play. It was these little practice rooms.
It's like a peep show, but for banjos.
Yeah. And I just played them one after the other, and then switch them around, and found the one that felt the best, and that's the one I bought. Because it's really hard, especially when it comes to acoustic instruments. It's hard to just read about it and figure out what's going on. You kind of have to feel it and hear it and see how it responds. And so that's I guess kind of how we do things.
Well, yeah, because there's not a whole lot of manipulation after the fact since it's all acoustic. You can't tweak your knobs. I don't know. That sounds terrible. You can't mess around with things too much. There's only so many settings you can change on acoustic instruments, I guess. So, all right, I guess the last question I have, and I'll let you guys go for the night. I know I've kept you for a while, but what do you guys listen to on a day-to-day basis? Is there anything that I might find surprising?
Can you go first?
Surprising.
Since you're not metalheads.
No. I really, really, really enjoy a lot of big band and jazz and Duke Ellington and things like and also I'm into electro swing a good bit.
What the hell is that?
So it's okay, so the way I always have to describe it is the cantina music from Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And then everyone knows what I'm talking about. But yeah,
there's bands that just always play that kind of music. That's called electro swing.
So is it? Okay.
A lot of take samples from old Andrew's Sisters songs and stuff, and then dub it over electric beats, electronic beats, EDM, things like that.
Okay. And
yeah, I really enjoy that.
I'm gonna have to look that up because that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Hey, it'll bring me back to my days at Mos Eisley. All right, Jesse, what about you, man? Anything weird?
I don't know about. Well, I guess probably the weirdest thing. It's not even that weird, I guess. But I listen only when I work out do I listen to any hard rock music or anything. I really like Rammstein.
Oh my gosh, there you go. Wow.
But I only listen to that kind of stuff when I work out. I do enjoy it, but I've been listening to a lot of classical music lately. I've always been because I took classical 6 years, and so I've always been into classical music, and kind of more or less at different times in my life. But now I'm kind of more into it at this point too, just listening to it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you guys on social media, and where can they find the album?
All right. Well, Rayo Brothers. If you do @Rayo Brothers on any social media that we're on, then you'll find us.
Cool.
We're on YouTube. We have a website, rayobrothers.com.
And look for those, crap quality covers.
Don't look for those.
Don't look for those.
Actually, I think a lot of the most offensive videos of us playing live were taken by other people, and so it's not on. Not on. But actually, I don't know when this podcast releases, but just today, as we record this, our first single came out. It's called "Lips Like Wine." It's the first single that's going to be released on this album. That is out now, so you can find that on YouTube.
Awesome.
And Yeah, the album is going to be out on March 29th on Nouveau Electric Records. We're also going to have a Bandcamp page that'll come up whenever that album's available.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, if you just look for Rayo Brothers, you'll find us. We'll be on iTunes, Spotify, and all that stuff.
Oh, awesome. Well,
and vinyl too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Awesome. I like that. So a lot of collectors will be able to pick up your stuff. I just had a DJ on. Maybe we'll get him one of your vinyl records, and he can do some scratching with some Rayo Brothers and.
Oh yeah, remix.
Exactly. I mean, that would be pretty sweet. You guys jump in the electronic music genre with your Americana music.
Yeah, I've been waiting to make the jump for a while now.
Well, obviously, I mean, you like Mos Eisley Cantina music, so that makes total sense. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it, and best of luck with the album.
That's great. Thank you.
Black and white movies and talks about Shakespeare. Aroma of wine on a warm summer night. I don't know where this kiss is gonna take us. All that I know is it feels just right.